Today I have this Arlec garden light transformer with timer, 90 watts roughly, light sensitive, guess from the 1980s or something, maybe the 90s, I don't know. And what do we got here? Specs. So if it was 10 amps, it'd be what, 120 odd watts at 12 volts. So take about a third of that off. So I guess we're somewhere around let's say 6 amps or something, I guess would be a fair thing probably. So it's got a decent transformer in it. Maybe a bit more, but you don't want to go too close to the ratings of these things normally. So manual operation, slide it to manual, lights will turn on, and this so it just comes on. Auto, dusk till dawn, that wasn't a bad movie. Or timer position on the other switch. Oh yeah, so dusk till dawn or timer, so I guess that's just all night. Obviously, when the light dims, it'll run until the light comes, the sun comes up again. Light sensitive controls the lights, turning them on at dusk and off at dawn. When you select the timer position, the light sensitive photo IC, in other words, will come on at dark and then run to whatever you set that to, I guess. Yeah, and off at the time selected, so you got up to 12 hours and down to sort of 30 minute, 45 minutes, something like that. Yeah, also it's got a LDR somewhere, install at least 30 centimeters above ground with arrow up. Actually, I think we've lost our LDR because someone's cut all the cords off this thing, which doesn't matter with the garden lighting one, but that would have been cut just to remove it, I guess. So we need a power cord, and that I assume would have been an LDR. Looks like a 2-core shielded cable. Oh, well, I guess we're going to have a look inside it and see if there's anything interesting in there, and maybe put a cord on it and test it. It would just be handy as a sort of automatic timer off type thing. I don't really care about, I guess you do still need it to come on at night time, but I don't think you can. I guess you could have a switch on the LDR position or something to trigger it and get it going. So that would have been the original cables, complete with spade terminal things on there. Holding that in there. Nothing much, it's just catching on the screw mounts, I think. We've got a dead millipede in there. Oh, so that's the actual transformer, that lump there. That makes sense, I guess. And we have a 4020 IC, and you wouldn't believe it, but there's a 555 timer in here. Who would have guessed? Well, it's the most famous little thing, so it does say CDS, so it would have had an LDR in there. Is that some sort of SCR or something? Could be. NEC 2P4M. Well, it's got a relay there. Oh, it does say, it even says SCR on the board. So why do we need an SCR in this thing? Because we're just switching a transformer on. Looks like the output of the, oh no, that's the input of the transformer. I was going to say surely they're not bothering to switch to 240, but no, 240 straight into a terminal block and on the ground, into the transformer, out of the transformer, through a fuse, into a relay, which makes sense, and then I assume that other wire goes to the output terminal, which it does, plus another blue wire which goes to the transformer. What do we need an SCR for, really? Output of the transformer into a bridge rectifier, only 100 mic cap to filter it. We've got a Zener diode, a pot which obviously sets the time on the 555 timer. I guess this LDR will be switched or set to allow the timer to come on, but what do we need I wonder if that's like a counter chip. I bet it's a counter chip. So to get the output of the 555 timer and make it even longer, possibly we divide it up a bit more, maybe. I can't remember what time periods you can set a 555 to, but that's probably to extend it at a guess. or is it to latch something? Let's see, either have the LDR comes on and the light runs, so that doesn't need the 555 timer in that mode, but it must enable it. Either comes on while that's on, so when there's lack of light, I should say, when that's high resistance, is it? This thing will switch the relay on until it goes low resistance, high resistance, whichever one the light causes. So in that mode, no timers, no nothing, the relay just has to come on. Or we have a mode where everything's off until this enables things, but we're in timer mode, so it must enable the 555 timer to start up. Unit comes on, so to kind of be in the same mode as before, but when the 555 timer finishes, it tells it to turn off. So maybe that's what the function of that chip is, to take a pulse or a high or whatever out of the 555 and disconnect things. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be hard to draw a circuit of that thing out. I guess there's not a lot to it. But yeah, kind of interesting. But at least we know we need a CDS cell hooked up. Obviously need a new power cord on this thing. I guess I've got these clamp grommets out of the way. Can I reach that from above and squeeze it out? Possibly. Come on. That's coming. If you get that a squeeze and start pushing it out, often a pair of side cutters or something will get it out the rest of the way. Nearly. Come on. They sort of have slots on the top and bottom, which makes it a little harder to get out. And we've got a little one there. You can squeeze them from just the outside with a pair of side cutters, but it's not always the prettiest, or pliers. But you tend to leave teeth marks on them if you don't put something else around them first. So I can probably hook LDR or CDS or something up to that temporarily. I guess I should leave that in there maybe, since it's all set up the way it should be. And I think I'll take that terminal block off. Get on there. Okay. Well, I might just leave the earth disconnected, and we might as well just check everything else is operating. But don't do that at home, you should always have your earth on just in case. Let's get rid of that because we're not going to be using the outside bit again. Now I've got some normal LDRs. I might have a CDS. I guess I don't think they really have to be the cadmium whatever ones. Maybe the later ones are the same, but usually those CDS cells are the old metal enclosed sort of things with a little window on the front, I think. I'm not sure the later ones, I don't think they ever referred to them as CDSs, but you draw a magical optoelectronic thing. See, that was what I always think of as a CDS. Ones like that in a metal case. There's all sorts in here. That's a big flat LDR. Oh, these are a bit more. These are actually an old school one I found somewhere. I ended up with a few of them. I thought they were diodes in like a glass, old school glass transistor case, but turns out they're actually a LDR type setup. Very old one, I'd say, but these ones, I think these came out of Sharp televisions. The early Sharp C, maybe the 224, 206s, actually had like an automatic ambient setting or whatever where you could dim the picture down to suit the room lighting conditions. Never looked real great, but they were a sort of feature. What are they? The LG GoldenEye type thing, but these were in the 70s basically, and that's more like the one you would buy at Dick Smith or somewhere. I can't actually remember the type number of the Dick Smith ones, but they had a common type number that they were selling in the 80s. And there's some reed switches and a xenon flashlight and some of those little opto breaker things. Odds and sides, I found there's a MEL12 or something, photo transistor. Yeah, MEL12. And some other photo diode or photo transistor. And what on earth is this thing? Is that a laser? An HP HEOS or CS 1100. I'll have to look up what that is. In an old, like an IC case that they had, but it's got a longer thing and it's got an interesting red colour. I wonder if that is a laser. So unlike a solar cell, these don't actually produce a voltage, they just vary resistance. So they can vary a voltage coming from somewhere else, but as far as I know, they don't generate anything of their own. Well, that's got that, and where did I put that power cord? I think it's hanging on something else. Well, let's plug it in and hope. On manual. Ooh, lamp isn't lighting that. That's not a good sign. Oh, switch is dicky. Huh, that'll be right. Go to auto. Timer, I guess it needs to go dark. Oh yeah. So it must have a bit of a delay there. Let's go dusk till dawn. Cover it. And nothing. Well, so much of that. I might put my fingers over it, that shouldn't matter. Well, oh, there it goes. Just takes quite a while. Makes sense, I guess, because you don't want smart circuit design. You don't want some person walking past and a bit of shadow to trigger it. So maybe it's another function of that chip. It actually times. And we're off. Sun's come up. Goodbye. Let's set that to a fairly short time. Cover that up. Wait comes on. That might not be as short a time as I think, actually. That's probably quite a few minutes. Okay, let's go the minimum. I guess it must have a minimum on time. So if we can trigger it and see how long that goes. Jesus, transformer's humming away. Guess I shouldn't really touch that without the earth, without testing it first, but anyway. Yet to see a transformer shorted to the chassis, but it's always possible it could happen. That's why they have an earth wire there. Now there you go, there's our timer, works. Give it slightly more. One, two, three, four. That was only about 17 seconds or something, so that's really short. Oh, well, that seems to work. And yeah, dusk till dawn, we've got to cover it. Maybe my fingers are putting too low a resistance there. Let's start again, let's reset it. Oh, it's about 5 seconds. If I have my fingers touching both wires, it doesn't work at all. Yeah, about 5 seconds. Oh well, we've got a working unit. Not sure what I really want it for these days, but I saw it and thought I wouldn't mind that just in case. As you do. Might be handy. wonder if we could use the circuit to switch 240 volts instead or something, because I use 240 volt lights now, but oh, this is switching lower voltage. I wonder what this relay is rated for. 120 volts AC at 1/4 of a horsepower, I think. Or yeah, 120 volts AC / 28 volts DC at 10 amps. So it wouldn't be hard to replace that relay with something better that's rated at 240 volt, and just use this little board. Probably get rid of this great big transformer, which could just be used as a lighting transformer, I guess. You want that somewhere well away from where you are, because it hums quite a bit, so that's not real good. Maybe why someone got rid of it. That little timer board here could be quite handy with a light sensor. I kind of like the idea of that, but then of course the problem with that is your lights sort of go out at a particular time, and if you get home later or something, you're going to be in the dark. So it almost would be handy if you had a little button to press that could make it run for a certain time. But I just use those clips, or what they call them, those pneumatic type switches. You just press it in. You got a manual switch to turn it on when you want them on, and then if you want to go just have them on for a short period to go from the garage to the house or something, you just press the switch in, and they just basically suck air back in slowly until they turn off again. And yet they are adjustable, but they're good enough for most things, and they're direct 240 volt switches. But yeah, I might have a use for that somewhere. Or I could actually have some sort of I was thinking of putting some new garden lights in, but that would be the perfect sort of thing. It comes on at dark, and then you just have it turn off at 11 o'clock at night or something. I guess then that'll change, of course, in summer if it's set to say 3 or 4 hours running time in winter. But of course you can always turn it back down if you only want a couple of hours, because here it can stay light till about 9:30 in the middle of summer. But yeah, interesting old gadget. I think I'll put that back into storage for the moment. At least I know it works, because I've got to go through some of this stuff, and if any of it's faulty or no use anymore, it's time to get rid of it. Got a pile of junk under the bench, so I better slowly work through these. But anyway, thanks for watching.